my beautiful friends, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing pretty good. Before we get into this video, I want to make a little disclaimer that this video isn't about preaching and like pushing you guys into veganism. It's really for people who are kind of interested in it, kind of on the fence, want to know more about it before committing to being a vegan. I'm here to share some of my tips and tricks of what I use and what helped me get through the transition, and I just want to share them with you guys. So before you guys leave any hate and anything because I'm making a video on veganism, just watch the video through, and if you really do disagree with something, let me know. But honestly, there's nothing preachy about this video. There's nothing that's going to be pushing anything onto you guys. It's just some tips that I want to share with you guys. If you're interested, keep watching and let's get on with this video. So tip number one is to try vegan alternatives to animal products. So there are tons and tons and tons of vegan alternatives nowadays. When I first went vegetarian, like a long time ago, I went vegetarian first, and there was only literally Yves hot dogs and hamburgers, and now there is like everything you can think of. Any dairy product, any meat product you can think of, there's an alternative to it in like vegan stuff. Also, there is actually some alternatives that taste so much like meat that I actually don't like them because they taste too much like meat, and I personally don't like the taste of meat. If you guys want to know some vegan alternatives to meat products and some what are my favorite ones, let me know down below. Give this video a thumbs up and maybe I'll do a video on that if you want to know more. Tip number two is to make Pinterest as your best friend. Honestly, this website is amazing for things like this because they have so many recipes, and I get all my recipes or most of my recipes from Pinterest because they just have such a variety. Just make it your best friend. You'll find a lot of recipes on there. So tip number three is to check out some Netflix documentaries. And when I'm talking about documentaries, I'm not talking about the ones that are literally like showing you animals being abused. I can't watch those for the life of me. If you guys know anything about Earthlings, I literally started to watch the intro and then clicked out. I was like, can't do it, I'm tapping out, like hell no, I can't do this. So I'm a person who does not like watching any of those things, and I don't believe in like pushing that on people. But two of the more low-key ones that don't have very much of that is Cowspiracy and What the Health. Those are the two that I totally recommend. They're more fact-based than fear-based, which is nice. There's also tons of documentaries on Netflix that aren't even just about veganism. It's just about your health, and it helps you decide good for your body and what's not good for your body. There's ones on sugar, there's tons on like juicing, things like that. There's so many on Netflix now, and it's kind of crazy, and I love watching them. There's always a new one coming out, and What the Health is actually the most recent one that just came out. So go check it out. They're totally relevant, they're so cool, and they're not all just about veganism. And if you don't have a Netflix account, tip number four is to check out some YouTube videos. So you're checking out mine right now because you're kind of interested in veganism, I'm assuming. Well, there's tons of vegan people on YouTube. It's kind of crazy. Every time I find a new YouTuber, they're like vegan, and I'm like, ah, cool. There's a lot more vegan channels out there. There's like people base their channels on veganism. They share recipes, they share their daily lives, they share like what they eat in the day, so you can kind of get an idea. Currently, I've been watching High Carb Hannah, and her videos are actually really good, and she's actually really inspirational. So you can check her out. But there's tons of people on the internet. There's like Fully Raw Christina if you guys are interested in the raw diet. There's Freely, she's a little harsh, and there's just a bunch more. So go check them out. If you guys have a favorite YouTuber that you watch who's vegan, comment them down below so other people can check them out. Tip number five is eating vegetarian before going vegan. So some people find veganism kind of extreme, especially if you're coming from a meat, dairy-based diet. Whereas going vegetarian, if we're putting labels on it, is just cutting out the meat first, and then going to veganism is cutting everything out. So just try going vegetarian first. I know a lot of vegans might not agree with this, and that's fine. Some people can go completely cold turkey. That's good. If you guys can, then ignore this step. Go cold turkey by all means, have fun. But some people need to ease into the transition a bit more. That's what I did. I went vegetarian first. I actually never thought I was going to become a vegan when I first went vegetarian, but look at me now. I'm giving you guys tips on veganism. Just check it out, just try, see how it goes, you know, go with the flow, start slowly stepping into it. Some people need to slowly ease into it. Just try it. Doesn't hurt. Tip number six is to learn to read ingredients. And this is kind of an important one because now that if you're eating vegan or if you're interested in eating vegan, you need to know what's in your food. So a lot of companies, especially processed foods, constantly put dairy in their products, meat in their products, gelatin in their products, and you don't even know it. There's a lot of products that you don't know that actually have dairy in them, like crackers and things like that. You're just like, what? Why is there dairy in there? But you might also be surprised. There's a lot of products that are already vegan, like Oreos, and I believe sweet chili heat Doritos. Correct me if I'm wrong. But those two are vegan already. There's tons of foods that are actually already vegan, so it just doesn't hurt to check out your ingredients, see what you're actually putting in your body, and know that some things that you may think that are vegan are not actually vegan. So. And this goes to point number 7, is to research and learn. There's so much information about veganism out there. It's kind of crazy, but it's important to read about it, especially if you're unsure about the vitamins and nutrition, because a huge controversial thing people believe about veganism is that you don't get enough vitamin. And if you're eating more of a plant-based diet, you don't really need to worry much, just saying, because you're getting all your nutrients from the plant. That's the main thing that people always say, is that they don't have enough protein. There's so much protein in plants, and if you just learn and read about it, my cat, sorry. If you just learn and read about how different plants can actually give you tons of nutrients and keep you going, then just check it out, because you need to learn about that stuff when you first start, because it's very important to make sure that your body is healthy. You want to go into a vegan diet concentrating on your health first to make sure you are okay, and not go in unhealthy and then hate the diet because you're constantly feeling like crap because you don't have enough nutrients. Tip number 8 is to try a vegan restaurant. And I know this is kind of random and it's weird, but there are tons of vegan restaurants out there that you might not even know. Sometimes even I'm surprised. I'm like, oh damn, there's a vegan restaurant down the street from me and I didn't even know. So why don't you go try it? If you're scared to try a meal and you don't want to cook something at home, or you don't want to try something extravagant, go try a vegan restaurant. They actually have really good options, and I've never been disappointed in a vegan restaurant. They always have something good. So go check it out. I'll give you guys a website. I'll leave it down below, but there's happycow.com, I believe, or happycow.net, and you can go check it out. You literally type in your location and type in the vegan restaurants. It'll show you the vegan restaurants, it'll show you some vegetarian restaurants, and it will also show you restaurants that are just regular restaurants with meat products, but they will say if they have a vegan option or not. So if you're kind of interested in that, go check out some vegan restaurants. It's pretty cool to know what you have around you. Tip number 9 is to go back to the basics. So when you start going into a vegan diet, a lot of people will tell you that it's very expensive. And yeah, it can get expensive when you start eating just the vegan alternatives, because they like to jack up the price, because the vegan diet is actually really trendy now. So the prices are kind of expensive for some of the things. But it's important to just go back to the basics. A lot of vegans base their diet on rice, beans, and legumes, and that's pretty much it. You can make so many recipes with like quinoa, rice, beans, anything. Honestly, you'd be really surprised. Go back to tip number 2, where there's a bunch of ideas on Pinterest. It's actually really good. Tip number 10 has like little tips within it, so just bear with me. I'm not going to try and ramble too much. But tip number 10 is for my friends that still live at home and want to try and go vegan. I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, hey, I really want to try eating vegan, but I can't because my parents make my food and I have to eat what's on the table, and I always constantly hear that. So here are some tips that kind of resolve that issue. So my first point is to try and make a meal for your parents. So a lot of parents get stressed out when their kids want to go vegan because they don't exactly understand what it is and what you're trying to do, and they just get like freaked out and they think that you're going crazy. Try making a meal for them. Ask your parents, be like, hey mom, dad, I'm gonna cook supper tonight. We're gonna have an awesome meal. Literally make supper for the whole family. Make something that's not too extravagant or weird or anything that's gonna freak them out. Try and make something super simple for them, and I'm sure they'll enjoy that you made supper for them. My next point is to buy your own food. So if you're still at home but you are making some money, try buying your own food. So if you want to try some vegan alternatives, go ahead and buy it, and then just add it to whatever your parents are making for supper. So if your parents are making sausages, potatoes, and peas, buy your own vegan sausages, cook those up. Your parents have your regular sausages, then you got some potatoes and beans, and there you go. I don't know why that was an example, but it was. But just try it and see. Try buying your own stuff. It'll be a lot easier for your parents. Even convince them to try it themselves, you know, all that jazz. Ease them into it. That's the whole point. And tip number 3, if those don't work, just eat the vegan options at supper. So if you're having like a Thanksgiving meal, you got your turkey, you got your gravy, you got your vegetables, you got your potatoes, got your bread, take the vegan options. You'll be surprised a lot of bread is vegan. And just eat the vegetables and potatoes and you're good. Alright, so I am currently dying of heat in here because it's really, really hot out. The sun is beating on me and I'm just like drenched in sweat right now. My hair has officially gone flat because it's hot in here and it's just that's what's happening. So those are all my tips. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, give this video a big thumbs up. Share some tips down below so that you can help other people who are interested in a vegan diet and just help them kind of transition and share your experiences going into a vegan diet. You know, all that jazz. Just make it a sharing community. Have some fun. You know, if you're interested in it, cool. If you're not interested, to each his own, whatever. It's your own decision. No one's pushing you to do it. So go and enjoy it, have fun. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button down below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me, hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing.